morning, everyone. This is update for August 2, 2022, day 160 of the war, end of the date. As heads up, or for those who missed, I'm traveling right now, and we'll be back on August 4. So I'll start providing normal updates on August 4. But this is going to be very short and quick update. Nevertheless, I wanted to do update because there are news. There are significant developments on the front line, and I just want to keep you sort of posted and updated. So first, let's quickly jump to area east of Kharkiv. Situation here is stable, more or less the same. There was Russian small-scale attack from area around Travneve towards southeast. It wasn't successful. Now let's quickly jump to Izyum bridgehead. Things here are more or less stable, nothing really major, some kind of reconnaissance action, but things are on pause here. And as we discussed before, all of these troops are more or less likely out of this area. Now let's quickly move to North Donbas section of the front line. There are some developments here. First of all, Russian troops are attacking to gain control of Soledar. They gain some ground, so they really getting to the outskirts of Soledar at this point. The fighting is there. The fighting is going on in this village Bahmutske. That's kind of like next to Soledar as well from the southeast. Then there are also reports that Russian troops almost gain control over Berestove. We don't have 100% confirmation of that, so we'll kind of keep this kind of the same for now, but there's high probability that it's captured by the Russian troops. The Russian troops also attacked towards Ivanodarivka without much success, though. Let's move a little bit towards south of the of this North Donbass section of front line, and as you can see, there are a lot of problems for Ukrainian troops here. As we discussed, there are Russian gains near Soledar. Then they also coming closer. There are gains straight east of Bakhmut as well. Then there is also Russian advances towards village Kadema. So you can see the salient has become bigger. The Russian troops firmly passed village Semiyira, somewhere west of it at this point. And there are also reports that Russian troops captured this village Travneve here. So as you can see, there's quite significant losses on this entire section of the front line for Ukrainian troops here. Now let's move to area west of Donetsk. Things here also pretty bad. Specifically, Russian troops managed to essentially capture not all of the, but majority of Pisky, and essentially breached Ukrainian defensive position here. We discussed that they are pretty well engineered and so on, and entrenched, and there are bunkers there and things like that. However, what happened here is Russian troops accumulated a significant number of artillery. We don't know, probably like 100. Let's actually jump in here. This is Pisky, so it's essentially captured by Russian troops. So they probably accumulated, let's say, 100 cannons per 1 kilometer, and it's usually most of them 152 millimeters. So that's pretty powerful shell. And they basically created a moon landscape, inflicting very heavy losses on Ukrainian troops there, and essentially disassembling all of their all of the defensive positions. And there was even calculation from one of their Ukrainian soldiers who said that they would get about 6.5 thousand shells per day at their position in Pisky. So essentially, the area is completely destroyed. And then, as we discussed before, Russian troops and the Russian infantry then moves in and mops up remaining resistance, which is almost at that point non-existent. So this is what's happening there. This is what we would like. That's why we're making this update, because we would like to highlight the situation that this Russian artillery machine is still working and it's still successfully working, and those attacks against their uh, ammunition depots are not sort of not achieving their goals, right? They may be delaying this attack. Maybe this attack was delayed by a week or so, but nevertheless it happened, and it was successful. And so now the Ukrainian defensive position has been breached, and this opens up opportunity for Russian troops to exploit an attack towards Vodyane here. This is probably going to be the next sort of target, and Ukrainian troops are essentially withdrawing to Vodyane, and then there's village here, Pervomayske. So this is going to be a pretty huge breach in Ukrainian defenses, and most importantly, this area was well fortified, and it could have withstand sort of the attack if there was support from Ukrainian artillery, which from the report of this soldier, there was the Ukrainian artillery support is essentially non-existent. There is no counter battery fire, and this is obviously problem at the Ukrainian top level command, because it's all of their artillery is under their control. And what's really happening, as we discussed, the Ukrainian troops have excellent self-propelled howitzers, crabs, PH 2000 Caesars that could be easily brought in into this area for counter battery fire, and they could easily pick up Russian artillery, because most of the Russian artillery is stationary. They're not self-propelled howitzers; it's stationary. A lot of it is actually World War II type of artillery, so it's not it's not mobile. It's and the way Russian artillery works, they tend to sort of stay in the same position for a really long time, and they stay like close to each other, right? So usually it's a line or something like that. The reason they don't change is because the skills of artillery crews are not there. They don't have ability to act independently. So each cannon cannot really work independently. They work in groups because there is shortage of skilled artillery officers. So they easily pickable, let's put this way, if you do it right. And why this is not being done, it's a big question. We don't want to go into this conspiracy theories here, but it does look very, let's say, very uncomfortable, to say it very diplomatically. So we'll continue this. We don't know if we're going to be able to do update tomorrow, but if things really start to developing in really negative way, we'll definitely provide update. But the whole point is now that Russian troops have their like open road to attack towards Vodyane without much standing in their way, and then also on this towards this Pervomayske. And not to mention that Ukrainian troops suffered heavy losses. Essentially, the way they were fighting, the holding this position was to plug the holes with the bodies of the soldiers. And this attack turns out has been going on for about 6 days until the positions were breached. So as you can see now, what's happening here? They're going to be attacking. Russian troops going to be attacking towards this kind of like northwest, and then it's more like, well, I guess northwest, and then northwest, and then they will continue pressure from here. So essentially, the goal is still remains Avdiivka, and it looks like they are creating difficult and uncomfortable position for Ukrainian troops around Avdiivka, and eventually there's going to be some kind of salient, and Ukrainian troops will be forced to withdraw from here. So again, this is the problem with not sort of regular, soldiers on the ground, because they basically do sacrifices. But this is a problem somewhere at the command level, And we don't want to bring up all of these stories about Yermak and his role and everything, but it becomes more and more sort of clear that there is a problem somewhere there, as we discussed many times before. Now let's quickly check what's going on. On Zaporizhia front line, things here are the same, no essential different, no essential changes there. And then also on Kherson bridgehead, things are still static. Ukrainian troops are still trying to attack those ammunition depots, as we discussed. There were a couple picked up over past a few days, but as we discussed, the problem is that Russian troops are able to bring more ammunition, and they maybe it's delaying in their attacks, but doesn't solve the problem. The real solution is attacking the bridges, attacking the ferries, attacking the pontoon bridges. We have not seen that in several days so far. But otherwise, the opportunity here is still present for Ukrainian troops on Kherson bridgehead. If they continue systematically destroy their supply of Russian troops, specifically bridges, right, and ferries, that will eventually yield results here. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your patience. We appreciate your patience. And we'll come back to regular updates on August 4th. Thanks again. Bye bye.